Good morning, televiewers of my Media Prime Television. You are on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on this fight once again at the helm of the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF. We are told that the first vice national chairman is at loggerhead with the communication secretary of the party over a 40-year-old car. We shall talk about that and also reactions of those who are involved in this fight that is tarnishing the image of the party. We struggled to get in touch with Honorable O.C. Joshua, who gave his comment regarding what is actually ongoing when it comes to that issue of the car, that we are told that gendarmerie officers stormed the residence of the communication secretary in Yaoundé, the national communication secretary, and forcefully took away the car. We shall also talk about other issues, especially the closure of the market in Kumbu by the mayor of that locality in a bid to thwart the collection of revenues by Ambazonia fighters. Newspapers are still focusing on that story since Monday as we are reading. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspaper this morning. Good morning, Gwladys, and happy weekend.
Merci beaucoup, Lasha. Bonjour à toi, bonjour à vous et bon week-end à vous aussi. Et bienvenue à cette dernière édition de la semaine de Debré, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur My Media Prime Télévision. Ce matin, nous allons débuter avec l'œil du Sahel. L'œil du Sahel nous amène à Yagua pour nous parler des inondations dans cette partie du pays. En effet, le journal nous révèle que 13 000 familles sont donc victimes d'inondations à Yagua. Les détails sont en page 6 jusqu'à 7 du journal L'œil du Sahel ce matin. En page 3, le journal nous parle de nécrologie. Amadou Ali, la nation est donc reconnaissante face à ses actions. En page 3, le journal nous parle de l'extrême nord Cameroun, situation sécuritaire qui est sous contrôle dans cette partie du pays. Nous restons toujours dans L'œil du Sahel à sa page 2. Le journal nous parle de rencontres de concertation. Les militants du RDPC de l'Ambila, toujours en rang serré. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle ce matin L'œil du Sahel à sa page 2. Nous continuons, mesdames, messieurs, avec Émergence Quotidien. Émergence Quotidien nous parle en grand titre de la ligne 65 pour nous parler ici de pourquoi 1790 agents doivent donc justifier leur mission. C'est du moins ce que nous informe ce matin le journal Émergence au quotidien à sa page 3. En page 4, le journal nous parle de travaux publics. L'investissement public chute donc de 12,4% au Cameroun. En page 11, le journal nous parle de sport pour parler ici de championnat de football. La FECAFoot réajuste donc les dates de coup d'envoi. Toujours dans le même journal et toujours en page 11, le journal Émergence quotidien nous parle du classement de la FIFA pour parler du classement des Lions indomptables. Le journal nous révèle ce matin que les Lions indomptables dégringolent. Nous continuons, nous clôturons ce matin avec l'économie quotidien. L'économie quotidien nous parle lui aussi en grand titre de la gestion des lignes 94 et 65 au Cameroun. La présidence de la République veut voir clair. Il a donc ordonné un audit des dépenses de ces deux lignes gérées par le ministère de l'économie, de la planification et de l'aménagement du territoire et le ministère des Finances au titre de l'exercice allant de 2010 à 2021. Les détails sont donc en page 2 de l'économie quotidien ce matin. En page 5, le journal nous parle de lutte contre le blanchiment d'argent, les capacités des autorités civiles et militaires renforcées dans le septentrion. Toujours dans le même journal, à sa page 4, le journal nous parle de commerce intra-africain, lancement officiel de la ZLECAF, ce jour donc au Ghana. Toujours dans l'économie quotidienne à sa page 3, le journal nous parle de l'Afrique centrale, la BDAC en guerre donc contre la criminalité environnementale. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà pour vos titres ce matin en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is focusing on what is happening at the level of the Social Democratic Front Party. The SDF tussle over 40-year-old car puts SDF big wigs on war path. We are told by the paper that gendarmes bailiff storm National Communications Secretary's residence, seize party's car, and Kemlemo says OC's dying ambition to take over SDF leadership, taking him to extremes. And also this other reaction, and OC Joshua is equally firing back, and he says Kemlemo had been keeping the car illegally for years now, the party's car, as per what OC Joshua told the Guardian Post newspaper. And still in the Guardian Post newspaper, on this interview, Dr. Formenyo Foundation, Christopher Foundation Executive Director unveils roadmap to promote good governance, humanitarian activities in the country. You can get the details on page 9 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper that you can find on the newspaper stands this morning. On to this other headline that has to do with elections. Cameroon Tribune this morning is interested in the meeting that was held recently by Elections Cameroon, bringing together actors in the electoral process in the country in a bid to ameliorate the process, as we are reading in the paper. Since 10 years ago that Elections Cameroon was put in place, so much has been done, or so much have been done, and the electoral body is consulting with stakeholders to improve on the electoral process in the country. Political parties and other stakeholders met recently with Elections Cameroon to ameliorate the electoral process, as per what Cameroon Tribune newspaper is telling us this morning. And still in Cameroon Tribune newspaper this morning, Cameroon Tribune newspaper is talking about Fumbot, where Serac has donated to IDPs in that part of the country. The Circle of Friends of Cameroon was in the locality of Nun Division, West region of the country yesterday, October 6, 2022, with diverse gifts for internally displaced persons from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Serac General Coordinator Grace Diongute represented First Lady Chantal Biya at the colorful ceremony in Nun Division of the West region of the country. More details on page 12 of this edition of the National Bilingual Daily Cameroon Tribune. On to The Voice newspaper this morning is revisiting Teachers' Day celebration, World Teachers' Day 2022. All hail to pedagogues' selfless devotion against the rocky conditions that teachers go through as they embark on the journey of transforming young Cameroonians into future leaders. You can read more in this edition of The Voice Weekender newspaper. And The Voice Weekender is also interested in the popular market that has been shut down by the mayor of Kumbu in that part of the country. Kumbu Mayor realizes controversial anti-amber feat when it comes to shutting down the market. The mayor took the decision recently to shut the market in a bid to frustrate revenue collections by separatist fighters operating in Kumbu. With the permission of the producer, we end this morning with the Eagle's Eye. The Eagle's Eye this morning is interested in this parliamentary network that has to do with the promotion of cash crops in the country. The main mission of the parliamentary network for the promotion of cash crops such as coffee, cocoa and cotton is to accompany the government of Cameroon by offering good legislations that can lead to the conservation, development, sustainability and efficient operation of the sector. The network is also in the fisheries sector, as the paper tells us this morning. It is worthy of note that the network has been constantly on the field with the Minister of Fisheries and his counterpart of Agriculture. The network is currently headed by Honorable Tabot Lawson Bakia, who doubles as the Bureau member of the National Assembly. The network was created on 15th of September 2020. or 2020 rather, as the Eagles newspaper puts it this morning. And La Réalité Plus newspaper, we cannot end without talking about La Réalité newspaper that is focusing on what the paper says move taken by some ministers in importing witch doctors to make President Paul Biya forget about cabinet reshufflement in the country. The native doctors or witch doctors have inundated Yaoundé, and they are in almost all the neighborhoods or quarters in Yaoundé, having at least a shrine where they practice as from midnight by invoking spirits that will make President Paul Biya forget about cabinet reshufflement. That is what the comic French newspaper is telling us this morning, that the ministers have paid so dearly importing witch doctors from Benin and other countries to make President Paul Biya forget about decrees that would reshuffle the government. Thank you for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning in the studio. Alex Ngepi will be joining us any moment from now. Meanwhile, we proceed with a conversation with Alex Ndive, who is already on the line to the UK. Good morning, Alex Ndive, and welcome once again.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys, Bomotonguina. Good morning to your entire team. It's always a pleasure to be on this, your wonderful program, and I'm sending my greetings to the beautiful people of the Cameroons.
Yes, just a reminder, televiewers, that the questions we ask on this platform do not represent our opinions or our views. We simply seek answers from the questions that we ask, and those questions have got absolutely nothing to do with our persons or the people who are hosting this platform. And this morning we want to begin with what is happening at the level of the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF, where the first Vice National Chairman, Honorable O.C. Joshua, and the National Communications Secretary, they are fighting over a 40-year-old car. Alex Ndive, you are very close to Honorable O.C. Joshua, and you know some of these things, especially as you guys are so close. He's your friend. What did you find out from what is happening?
Well, I would say he was my classmate, and somebody can be your classmate. It doesn't mean the person is close to you. However, we're classmates, you know, we have different type of classmates. Sometimes people are your friends, they are just your classmate. However, what I would say, it's very important if you are running a political party to have integrity. Your personality counts, and if you cannot run even your own home, they look at it. If you are a politician, they have to look, even if you're a married man, if you have children, how you're treating them, because the road to run a country starts with how you deal with your political party. If you're fighting in public about a 40-year-old car, if you cannot sit as a political party and solve the problem, then there is concern. There is call for concern. And this, to me, is not a new thing, because I know SDF. I was there when SDF was founded. I know all the people like Nico Kubri and Mbongunjo, John Fundi. I've never been a militant of SDF, but I was there from day one. We used to go to Liberty Square, we used to protest, we used to go to Tarikun, all over. I was not a member of the SDF, but I can tell you the history of the SDF. Unfortunately, when we sit on your platform, I weep when I think about the founders, people like late Abemukon. Why? Because SDF have sapped the soul and the brain of the parties. When you look at people like Professor Siga Asanga, who brought Fundi in SDF, he was sacked. Professor Asongani sacked. Professor Tamnjong sacked. Batonye Muna sacked. Kawala resigned. Nyowakai, Molande Kaluma, all those people who were the brains, they have been sidelined. And when you look at the party, if you remove the brains, do you expect the party to move ahead? That is what we are getting today. And SDF have been calling themselves opposition political party. What I'll tell you, they have never been an opposition. Once as you are in coalition with government, like Honorable Mbanda was Vice President of National Assembly, you are in coalition, you're not an opposition. I've looked at what happened. I've seen there's a bailiff involved in the case. And I've seen they're saying that this guy was having that car illegally. This is something that they cannot solve inside their party. It tells you the party is dysfunctional. I've also seen they mention one of my late elder sister, Anembom Munjo, that they gave her a car rather. They never gave Anembom Munjo a car. Anembom, I'm very close to Anembom, the entire family. And if SDF can come publicly and lie about Anembom Munjo, somebody who has passed away, somebody who cannot defend himself, I've looked into that information and I can confirm authoritative on your program. SDF abandoned Anembom Munjo. SDF, after the children left Cameroon after the funeral, Fundi have to celebrate Anembom Munjo without any of the family member. They were called during Anembom Munjo's funeral. They were invited to come and talk, SDF representative. They made it clear during the funeral that she was abandoned, and it's true. This woman was a brilliant journalist. SDF is a party that they are disguised, hiding their CPDM in disguise. They don't care about the people. And it's a disgrace that they cannot solve their own problem in their own house.
Maitre, we read elsewhere that Frundi is the one that ordered for the car to be taken away.
I've seen different or other version of the story. Even on your platform, your WhatsApp platform, somebody gave another second-hand information that Fundi is out of the country. Fundi said that he asked them to look at the problem. When he comes, he will come back and solve the problem. But again, the main concern to us while we're on this platform, this is a party. Because when you're a political party, you want to run the country. That's the aim of creating a political party. This is a political party that cannot solve a problem about a 40-year-old car. They cannot solve it within them. If you cannot solve that type of a problem within you, you involve gendarmes, you involve bailiffs to come and solve the problem. How can you run a country?
Mais Maître Alex, Maître Alex, pourquoi est-ce que ce secrétaire général décide de rester avec ce véhicule illégalement?
Say it again.
Why has the secretary, the national secretary of communication, decided to? Why did he decide to stay with the car illegally? Because as per what OC says that.
What they are saying.
No, that's what OC is saying, that he has been keeping the car illegally for years.
How can you keep a car illegally for years and abandon it for all that long? He said that even the procedure. I don't know when they use the word illegally what it means. It's a political party, and I presume if there is a car that belongs to a political party, I presume there will be rules that A can use this car to do A, B, C. I presume that's what we have to talk about. I don't know that word illegally. If the car belongs to the political party and the Secretary General is using it, I don't know if we can use that word illegally. I presume that is far-fetched to use that word just as an outsider. A member of a political party is using a party's car and you say it's illegally. So that
and Dennis, Maitre Alex, Dennis is saying that OC's dying ambition to take over SDF leadership, taking him to extremes. And OC Joshua has reacted this morning. I got to him and he told me that the reaction coming from the communication secretary is purely trash, and he calls it gutter journalism. That what the Guardian Post is relaying is gutter journalism.
Mr. Lasha, there's something they call libel. There's libel or deformation of character. When a journalist or a paper writes anything about you, you cannot say it's gutter journalism. You have to come and protect your probity and integrity if you have. You don't only need to sit and tell somebody behind the scene. You need to come to a program like your program and talk about this issue. And when you say there's gutter journalism, I know a lot of people who are associated with the SDF, they are too arrogant. They believe when we organize election, we are going to win. I've seen Mr. Joshua sign things that they should repatriate Cameroonians who are running away because of immigration problem. He's mixing them, confusing immigration with criminal offense. You cannot ask people who cannot live in Cameroon, who are running away because of the dictatorial regime of Biya, which has been there for 40 years, and say they should send them back to Cameroon. Send them back to Cameroon to do what? To give them a job. I've seen Mr. Joshua again sign other agreement with the SDF with the CPDM without consulting his party. It's about fighting who should replace John Fundi. But at the end of the day, you want to replace John Fundi. SDF have collapsed. It's no longer the party we used to know in the early 90s.
Okay, Gwladys.
Alors, Maître Alex, nous allons partir maintenant dans le quotidien Réalité Plus qui nous révèle ce matin qu'il y aurait une centaine de marabouts noirs et blancs qui empêchent le remaniement ministériel.
Without saying only to Mr. Mr. Bia is 90 years old, so they don't need to go to a marabout already. Because when you're 90 years old, all human beings, there's a chance that you start losing your memory. And if you look at the way Mr. Bia do things, normally Mr. Bia would have reshuffled his cabinet. The Mr. Bia that we all know.
Mais Maître Alex, on a vu le chef de l'État, son Excellence Biya, lors de l'arrivée du président français Emmanuel Macron, il n'avait pas l'air d'être en dehors de ses sens en même temps.
Mr. Lasha and Gwladys, you're saying, when they were asking Mr. Bia's question, you saw it, all of us, we saw it. What happened? During 20 May, before 20 May, Mr. Bia disappeared. Was it for 4 or 5 days? They did not tell us. When during 20 May, they were, instead of showing Mr. Bia coming out of the car, they were showing us the skies and the beautiful building in Yaoundé. It's normal to be old. We just have the late Queen Elizabeth who passed away. Every time he was sick,
mais vous parlez de la reine d'Angleterre, Elisabeth, elle, avant de décéder, elle avait quand même mis le nouveau Premier ministre du haut de son âge.
Oui. Listen, let's put the Prime Minister one side. The Prime Minister have got nothing to do with the Queen. Okay. The role of succession with the Queen to King is different. The Prime Minister is different. What we changed the Prime Minister, it had nothing to do with the Queen.
So are you saying that what la Reality Plus this morning is just comic stuff kind of story that the paper
my
is
personal
relaying?
experience, I'm not surprised that politicians in Cameroon, they go and see marabout and witch doctor and take it into cognizance. We know in Cameroon.
No, the paper investigated. The paper investigated and is telling us that almost in all the quarters in Yaoundé, there is a shrine. There's a shrine.
I was giving you an answer that I'm not surprised. Even when I was in Cameroon, I know politicians who go and see this marabout, and it's unfortunate that these people who are running the country, they are not aware that to go and see witch doctor or whatsoever, in accordance with the penal code, is a criminal offense in the Cameroons. So why are they running a country then they don't follow the law? And to me, I don't believe in this marabout, whatever they do or whatever they want to do. The reason is, if I can speculate what is happening now in the Cameroons, Mr. Bia is very old, and it's very difficult to start bringing changes now. If you reshuffle the government, what happens? Those who are disgruntled will go outside and start spilling the beans. That's why they have not changed the government. That's why they have not been a reshufflement. If marabout works, I'm sure Electoral community or other people, they would have lived. When anything happens or your time to die, why do they not use marabout? I don't believe in those things. Those things are just a psychological phenomenon. However, it's a criminal offense in the Cameroons. And if there are ministers who have gone to do or create shrines, or they are acting in accordance, not in accordance with the law of the Cameroons, I presume the police should come in and investigate it, and there should be a criminal trial.
Okay, Gwladys.
Maître Alex, allons à présent à Yagua, dans la région du Nord Cameroun. L'œil du Sahel nous révèle ce matin que 13 000 familles sont victimes d'inondations dans cette partie du pays.
Say it again.
13 000 familles sont victimes, Maître Alex, d'inondations à Yagua.
Oh yeah, I saw that about flood in Yagua.
Yeah.
What I would say, I know in Cameroon, when such things happen, they will always say it's a natural disaster. But however, in Britain, in the Western country, we have something they call flood defense system. You have to anticipate and know. Yagua has been an area where we have had flood before. What is the government doing? When governments are in power, they are there to use taxpayers' money to prevent, to help, or bring social amenity.
Maître Alex, pourquoi chaque année on se retrouve toujours à avoir des inondations dans les mêmes parties du pays et rien n'est fait?
That's what I'm saying, that in the UK and other Western countries have what they call flood defense system. This has been repeating itself for some time. What is the government doing? What is the government using taxpayers' money to do? Have they tried to bring something like flood defense system rather than saying now it's natural disaster? We have to look for a means. When you are in government, you have a function, you have a duty to look after the people.
Do we have the means? It's natural disaster. Do we have the means to be able to
natural
prevent?
Disaster. sun is something that is natural. Winter is something that is natural, but you can do something in order to prevent sun if you want to. And that's what technology and scientists. Do we have scientists or technology in the Cameroons after 60 years of the so-called independence? No.
Cameroon civil war now about money. That's what Reverend Tata is saying. Father Tata is saying that Cameroon civil war is now money. Even the people are within government circles. They are using the crisis to make huge sums of money, as well as the separatists.
I agree with him 100%, because when you see in Cameroon today, we talk about either money in the crisis, or you talk about we need more budget in the regional assembly, or you talk about the National Assembly have voted. We talk about money, but we don't talk about what we produce. Everybody knows Mr. Bia's situation. Mr. Bia is not all that active and powerful to look into his government, although I cannot say he was powerful before, but at least at his age now, things are different. So everybody is trying to what? Dry the coffer. Everybody is trying to embezzle money. Everybody is doing everything now, because at the end of the day,
even the war, people are using blood money.
Mr. Lasha, it's not only in the Cameroons. When there is war, there is confusion, there is entropy. So people steal and they do what they want to do. There is war. When there is war, it means the government have lost part of its territory and he cannot control it. And it's a fact. And you recently, Prime Minister Ndive said that things are returning to normal to certain places. It tells you that things were not normal. So when there is confusion, when there is a government who is there but he cannot run the country anymore, because everything we know is instruction from Mr. Bia, and Mr. Bia is not that young and is not in that position that he can give those instructions. We just see papers coming. We don't see Mr. Bia coming to talk to us as he used to talk before. So anybody can write those letters and say anything. We don't know. The country is in chaos, it's in entropy. Government is losing power in certain areas.
So how do we come out of the situation, especially in those regions of the country where you have war?
How do we come about it in the country? Yes, we have had the CNU rebranded CPDM ever since we had the so-called independence. And they say we keep on voting the same people. How can we have a government that every time all the promise that they have promised us since the days of Aijo until today, deep seaport, ring road, and if you see the Aijo regime, destruction of marketing board, Wadawum, Tico International Airport, they destroy all those things. Then you still vote for them. And people will say they embezzle it, they rig the election. I don't believe it. How can 2 million people vote for a president? And in the Western world, that would not be illegitimate. The problem is change. Do the people really want change? Rather than sitting and grumbling and saying that, oh, Bia is doing this. You, the people, you are sovereign. How many people can sit and challenge and continue and hold the government into account, scrutinize the government like myself? You cannot sit behind and grumble. We have to air our voice. We have to look at the government policy and tell them that enough is enough. It's time to go.
Ok, Maître Alex, parlons à présent économie avec le journal Économie quotidien qui nous révèle donc ce matin que la gestion des lignes 94 et 65, la présidence de la République veut voir plus clair. En effet, un audit a donc été ouvert entre le ministère de l'Économie et le ministère des Finances depuis 2010 à 2021.
These are just red herring to me, to be honest, because every time, what is happening in Cameroon, everything is a process in the Cameroon. When you see, I'm saying this why. I just saw something about Ministry of Defense, evaluation in the security situation. You look at what again in the electoral procedure, amelioration of the process of electoral. Every time we have to go in Cameroon, we are trying to clarify, it's a process, special state to process. And today, they are talking about to clear certain things in the Minister of Finance. The truth is, when we want to talk, we come on air, especially on your platform. Who is the Minister of Finance? Who is making our monetary policy? Who is controlling our interest rate? Who is talking about our GDP? It's not the Minister of Finance, it's foreign people. So sometimes we have headlines when these people don't have powers. The Minister of Finance should be in charge of our monetary policy. The Minister of Finance should be in charge of interest rate and talking about GDP. But who are the people doing it? Foreigners, BIAC, IMF, World Bank. So sometimes these headlines are just to prove that these people are existing. They are in government, but they are not in power.
Donc, Maître Alex, vous êtes en train de dire tantôt que cette audit n'aura pas lieu ou elle est inutile.
We have seen people being put in prison and they come back, they say they have given the money back. We are still searching for the account, the bank account that they have put that money there. We don't know. So
peut-être qu'ils n'ont pas mis ces argents dans des comptes bancaires. On a vu certains qui ont mis ces argents dans des chambres dans leur village.
Gwladys, is taxpayers' money. We have a right to know what is happening. If I ask you, Gwladys, do you know how much they pay Mr. Bia? You don't know. You have a right to know. Do you know how much they pay minister? You don't know. You have a right to know.
Most of them live on allowances. Most of them live on allowances.
No, taxpayers' money is not a secret. People have to know, and people are so dormant in Cameroon that I've changed now. I will start blaming the people rather than the government, because if the people know that things are bad, they are the sovereign people. They can stand and talk and raise their voice.
Mais où est-ce qu'ils doivent se positionner pour parler? Qu'est-ce qu'ils doivent faire, Maître Alex?
They do what I'm doing. I've been doing what I've been doing in the Cameroons. I used to protest, national conference,
Maître Alex, on a vu récemment plusieurs personnes qui ont essayé de protester et se sont retrouvées en prison. Est-ce que vous voulez encourager les Camerounais à risquer d'aller en prison pour des protestations?
Before you make omelette, you have to crack an egg. I don't see why people, if you do the things the right way, there are laws in Cameroon. If you follow the laws in Cameroon, I'm sure nothing will happen. Sometimes people just overreact. I'm saying I used to do it. So if it's happening, they are beating them, it's part of it. Sometimes if you want change, you have to put yourself there. I'm not saying they should use violence. There's nothing wrong for me to go in front of the French embassy and have a placard, stand there alone. France, stop influencing our economic or whatsoever. I can do that. I can go in front of the British American embassy and put a placard that enough is enough, and I write my placard, I put it up. They will see it, they will read it. I don't need to go to the street burning houses or properties or attacking people.
Okay, Maitre Alex, Elections Cameroon is 10 years old since that institution was put in place, institution that manages elections in the country. And recently, the officials of that institution, they met with stakeholders of the electoral process in the country, and they were chatting way forward on how they can ameliorate the process. Political parties and other stakeholders were present during the meeting. And do you think this will be an opener for free and fair elections in the country?
Mr. Lasha, what these people are doing, what we need in an electoral commission is what? Transparency. So what process are they doing for 10 years? What's the process? And if you look at the people, most of them who are in this election, some of them are ex-governors, some of them administrators. So you're putting the same people, you're giving your people job. Some of them, they could have been in retirement. And when you put them there, do you think they want to lose the election? No.
But it has to do with people's consciences. Do you want to tell me that
if there was people's conscience, there will be no law in this world, because we have conscience. The reason we have law, because you cannot trust any human being on earth, whether it's in the Western world or in the
at the end of the day, you have God to answer to. You have God to answer to. Do you think those people don't sit in their quiet?
Mr. Lasha, to run a country is not, you don't talk about God. God is a belief. Belief means there's no evidence, but something that you believe in. If you look at the meaning of belief, we believe in something that we cannot see, but we cannot believe in ourselves that we see each other every day. The problem is, what Electoral they should do, they should make it compulsory for everybody to vote. They should stop every time they say registration. They should enact a law and say, if you are, is it 18 years or whatsoever, everybody, it is compulsory. They have solved that problem. Every year, when they go about saying we are registering people, it costs taxpayers money. They should stop this game and make it compulsory. Again, if you want independent commission, what we have here in the UK, we have something they call Electoral Commission. They are very independent. The laws are clear. You can even just
how are members gotten? How are members named?
How
are members named?
The rules are there.
Yes.
What we are seeing, we are talking about personality of Electoral. These people are here, you don't even know them. The rules are there, they are online. anything you want to do, you just go there. You don't need to meet people because the rules are clear, they are fair. And in Cameroon, they are not. Because every time they keep on saying they are registering people, I've made it clear. Another proposal is that they should register fingerprint, so people should go and vote with their fingerprint. If they want to move forward after 10 years, they shouldn't sit around there because all of them, majority of them are CPT militants, and they don't bring people from other political parties. If they bring, they don't have any influence. And in Cameroon, as you say, everybody is looking for something to eat. I've seen evidence. I've spoken with people for some time, and they will tell you clearly what's happening in the Cameroons when it comes to election. If you're from this political party, they have two lists. When you agree, they give you money, they just swap it. If you don't agree, they will lose the light. Then they change the ballot box. That's what works there. We know it. And we know people run away from Bakingi, running with ballot box. How can they stop those things? Those are the things that we should look at.
So how can they be stopped? You say people should go and vote. After voting, how should they secure their vote?
Secure a vote, I'll give you another example. Why do you have separate electoral papers? Why? Why can't you put all them in one paper? Because why? What do? You say, bring all the other electoral ballot papers, and if you come and show us, then you have voted for CPD, we'll give you 10,000 francs CFA. Why can they not put it? If they want transparency, all the candidates, they should be on the same paper, not separate paper. That's one way of stopping vote rigging.
Ok.
Maître Alex, parlons à présent sport. Le Cameroun à présent perd 5 places au classement de la FIFA.
Cameroon is in which place?
Cameroon has lost 5 places when it comes to the new FIFA classification.
The only thing that unites us in that country is talking about football, nothing else. And football is an entertainment. Why do we always talk about football? Why can't we have passion? The passion we have for football, to talk about electricity for everyone, water for everyone, good roads for everyone, hospital for everyone. Why do we always talk about football? Since 1982, for the first time, I've never had this thought in my mind. And mark my word, it will be a disaster for the Cameroon football. Not that I wish them bad luck, but because the football of Cameroon now is too political.
Et même avec la présence de Samuel Eto'o-Fils, vous pensez toujours que le football est politique?
Samuel Eto'o-Fils is not independent. Okay. He is in that position because he was supporting Mr. Biya. That's why he is there.
But we saw him fought openly now. How can you be saying what they are saying, Maitre Alex?
Listen, you just cut me short. I was supposed to answer you. Usually they could have stopped Mr. Samuel Eto'o, that you have got dual nationality, like they stopped Ndege Eyango, who is more Cameroonian than any Cameroonian, when he wanted to become, is it president of Cameroon, is it music association? So they have a way of stopping people. They knew that Eto'o is dancing according to the RDPC, CPT and their tune. That is why they allow him to be there. There's always a way to stop somebody. Look at Ndege Eyango, a very good man, a Cameroonian than any Cameroonian, but they stopped him because they don't want him. So they allow Eto'o because they know Eto'o is dancing their Bafia dance.
When you see what Eto'o is doing today, is he dancing according to the sound of the drums that is being beaten by the CPDM?
I
look
like
at what
Eto'o
he's doing.
As a person, as a footballer, I like and I love Eto'o as a footballer, but I don't like his style of management. When people are in the office, they say there's corruption. Instead of you calling a police officer to investigate it, you dismiss the person outrightly. You have to investigate. You're innocent until proven guilty. His style of management and ruling, Eto'o is not in that position as a footballer. It's an executive position. It's an administrative position. Eto'o is the coach. He's the head of Fecafoot. He's everything. He's also a demigod. He's using Paul Biya's style of ruling Fecafoot. So it is very wrong. You have to work with people. That's good governance. If you think you're the law and you're everything, you're changing 4-year term to 7-year term. Oh, Eto'o needs enough time to complete his mandate. No, it's not about you. When you finish 4 years, they re-elect you 4 years, you go away. It's not about you. We should stop politics or governance.
And he took over when Fecafoot was in trouble. We saw the things that he has done so far.
When you go into an office, every office, majority, you go there to solve problems. You don't go there to sit on a bed of roses. So I don't care whether Eto'o took over when there was a problem. The reason you go to office is to solve problems. It's not just to go around, fold your arms and embezzle money. So you go there to solve problems.
But you've often said, Maitre, you often said that countries are built by dictators, or institutions are built by dictators. And when you look at what Samuel Eto'o is doing, don't you think?
Yes. Well, I will tell you, you look at the Queen of England. She was responsible for modern day Britain. She was a dictator. She sent people to go to different countries, colonized them, stole money, and constructed this country. But to us, it's democracy. There is a Democrat, and people keep on stealing money, and keep on putting all your ministers in prison. Ondongdo, Abba, Polycarp, Titus Ezwa, Mebera, all of them, they are in prison. And we have democracy in Cameroon. Listen, with elections and democracy, you can still have dictatorship. Dictatorship doesn't mean there's election. If the Prime Minister of England have absolute majority, she can become a dictator. Mr. Biya have absolute majority in Parliament as president. So it doesn't matter. That's dictatorship. Dictatorship doesn't mean election.
Why is dictatorship seen as being bad? What is bad about dictatorship?
When I see dictators, look at Lebanon. They have been fighting war. Compare Lebanon and Cameroon. Look at the Arab countries. They have dictators. Compare it with Cameroon. Compare it in Saddam Hussein's country. Compare Syria. Look at the roads. In Cameroon, after 60 years of Mr. Ahidjo and Biya, there's no motorway.
So Maître Alex, vous êtes en train de dire sur ce plateau que nous avons des dictateurs, mais qui se comportent comme des démocrates.
I'm saying, in Cameroon, we keep on saying, oh, he won the election. So I'm telling you, even in the Western world, you can still be a dictator after election. Mr. Biya have got absolute majority. In the CPDM, they won 139 seats. Bello Buba plus Bello Buba's UNDP 7 seats and other political parties. So they have almost about 160 seats out of 180. So that's absolute power. That's dictatorship. So they don't need to consult other people. So election, President Obama made it clear, election does not mean democracy. You need to go further than that. And at the end of the day, you need a benevolent despot to construct this country. People are fighting, competing with other countries to go and build their own country, to be patriotic, to love their country. Putin is fighting for his country, Russia. But what are we fighting for? We are selling our country. Our money is not being controlled by us. Our monetary policy, foreigner. Our interest rate controlled by foreigners. Our most of our utility company controlled by foreigners. So we don't like ourselves. People sit today, they say, oh, why is it that we have natural resources we cannot construct and develop our country? The reason is simple. Our economy is controlled by foreigners.
Yeah, Maitre Alex, let me take this message before we continue. It's coming from Abesimo Munju, daughter of late Miss Beatrice and neighbor Munju. She says that she wants to debunk this news that she's reading from the newspapers this morning. Please, I wish to debunk the story that SDF gave my mother a car. My late mom was the former communications secretary of the Social Democratic Front Party. Please, the party never gave my mommy anything. They gave her nothing, even when she was alive. She came out of SDF as she went in. Please, on your show today, can you kindly say this so that the Cameroonian people should know, contrary to what the newspapers are saying this morning? She wrote to us from the
I'm
UK.
happy that ABC have made that statement. ABC is a close sister to me, and the mom was very close to me. They are family friend. And when SDF come, I saw what Animbong did. After she left the United Kingdom, after spending 12 years there, she went to Cameroon. She was a very powerful journalist, and I know all those things. She sacrificed her journalist career for SDF. And I saw the way they treated Animbong Munjo. I used to go to Yaoundé, where she used to live beside Minife. It was a disgrace. Even for Madame Animbong Munjo, somebody who have done all those things, even to stand as an MP, she has to struggle. All SDF was doing was looking about doctors, professors, to put them to stand. These are the people who fought for SDF and Animbong Munjo. And I'm happy that Abese Munjo, the daughter of Animbong Munjo, have come to debunk this illusion, these lies that the SDF have been telling. And also, I'll tell you, there was another person too who have befell the same fate, which is Nico Kudu in Sonat Street in Bamenda. Those are my people. So when these people who join SDF, I don't know when they joined SDF, because I know from the origin, Mr. Akonte, Mr. Zangalwa, all those people who were there. I was there, I know them, they know me. So today people have come and they are talking about SDF, and in disguise, they are CPDM. So I'm happy that ABC have come and made this clear. SDF should stop lying.
This
SDF lies more than the CPDM.
This other message coming from another viewer in Bamenda is, he says that thank you so much for your show, and thanks the lady in the studio. I am a young politician based in Bamenda who want to join your show so that I can give my own contribution to nation building. I equally like the contribution of the barrister who is speaking the more grace to your able. The person did not sign the message. We are gradually coming to the end of the program this morning. Televiewers on My Media Prime. Your last word, Maitre Alex, before we leave.
I want to appeal to the government of the Cameroons that they should start applying their laws. When people go and take witchcraft, marabout, and the laws of the Cameroon says that it's a criminal offense, then nobody is tried. So if the people who are on top there, they cannot follow the law, why do you expect Lom Dearu to follow the law? So if the people on top, they are not following the law, you're telling the people who are in the street that they shouldn't follow the law.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you too, televiewers on My Media Prime, for watching this other edition, the very last for the week, which was produced for us by Christain, Tebong. We were Gwladys, Bomotonguina, and Lasha Kingsley. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.